Welcome back to another edition of Wizards of the Round Table. Let's get started. So I'm at home today, not feeling very well. Actually took a day off, which I haven't done in a long time. The guys are at the shop doing their thing and keeping the wheels rolling. But I have a big announcement this Sunday. You definitely want to tune in and head to the Car Wizards channel because there is a big reveal. Very, very important information. You definitely don't want to miss out. I'm sitting in the dining room table. It's actually one of Mrs. Wizard's pictures there behind me. Oh, and if you haven't checked out her channel, you should click the link below in the description to go to Mrs. Wizard's Ways. You go check out all the really cool videos she's got going on there. But today we're going to talk about 6 things which are features or issues that you really should avoid with multiple different makes and models. I kind of just thought them up and it's like, these things are definitely going to cause problems or in the future going to be a problem. So these are things to watch out for. Let's go ahead and get started with that. And number 1 is the eyesight feature on the Subaru vehicles, which is like a camera system that's up above the rearview mirror right there on the windshield, and it does the lane departure and all those different things like that. They're very problematic. They fail a lot. I've had several in my shop where we can't even really set it up. Even if I can replace the module, it requires a dealership to reprogram it and do the alignment and everything like that, and they're very, very expensive. Out of the probably 10 different people that I know with this feature in their Subaru, 6 or 7 of them have had to have the module replaced. It's that big of a problem. And although people say, well, I know a guy that can recalibrate those in his shop, there's a huge liability there. I will leave that to the dealer strictly because of liability. If it were to be calibrated improperly or something didn't go as planned, and somehow the lane departure system sent them into a telephone pole, no thank you. So it's very expensive to replace it, and it really should go to a dealer for the proper alignment. Most people I have dealt with say, is there any way to bypass this? It's like, well, maybe, but then you're going to lose a whole bunch of features, and it creates contention, and it's not worth it. The next one, which I've mentioned several times in videos in the past, is the General Motors Active Fuel Management, or the Chrysler Displacement on Demand. This feature, the idea behind it was pretty good. The execution was really bad. The failures on these systems, both General Motors or Chrysler, will destroy the engine. It can destroy, I should say, the engine, where lifters and things get turned sideways. They can break the lifter bores, tear up the block. I've actually had a couple of those. It was catastrophic. Whether it's the Hemi or the LS-based engine, it doesn't matter which make, both require the cylinder heads to come off to get the cam and lifters and all that stuff out. It's not like Grandpa's Chevy 350 where you can just pull the valve covers, the intake, and boom, take everything apart. The actual heads have to come off on these models. You'll know if you have this system when you're driving, if it shows economy mode, V4, V8, or something like that on the dash. And if you're not sure, check Google and look up your make and model and see if it came with that system. It's probably something that would have been told to you when you bought the vehicle, but definitely run from this feature. And it's only going to get worse as time goes on, as they start failing more and more. We have done delete procedures for customers on these makes and models of trucks. Some of them are cars as well. It's usually $4 to $6 grand to really mechanically fully delete the system and convert to a conventional cam and lifter setup. It can be shut off with software, but still the systems with the lifters that can collapse and whatnot, they can still break and cause a lot of issues. So if you're looking at one of these, try to find a model that maybe with a truck that's heavy duty with a 6-liter that doesn't have AFM, or maybe an earlier model, or just maybe don't buy that model because it's really very expensive to fix. It's a feature that's really kind of stupid. They meant well, but it definitely doesn't do well for your bank account when it breaks. The next thing to watch if you're looking for used cars with the EV or electric vehicles, if you find one that has not the battery charge level, but the battery health level, which like on a Nissan Leaf looks like this. That tells you how much time you have left before your battery needs to be replaced. We actually had a Nissan Leaf that it was perfect, only had like 60,000 miles. It was like a brand new vehicle, and unfortunately it wouldn't be several more years and it'll be totaled, it'll be useless, because the battery health was about 40% left. It would go about 20 miles. It normally would have gone 80 when it was new, but the battery had degraded to that point where it was down to about 20 miles, and we sold it to someone who was going to college, was literally 1 or 2 miles away from school, and they weren't going to be commuting any more than that. So that worked for them. It could go a long time for someone like that. But there's many electric vehicles on the market where you're looking at the battery health meter. If it's below half, you probably should not buy that vehicle. It could cost you tons to get the battery pack replaced. And that's if you can even find a battery pack. Like on the older Gen 1 Nissan Leafs, really no one is rebuilding or making new battery packs, because you can buy a good condition Leaf for $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000. A battery pack can be $10,000. It's really almost not worth it. And thinking about battery packs, let me show you something on my phone in case you have a Tesla with the battery degraded down pretty low and you need to get a new battery pack for it. You saw that right, guys. $19,000. Not $9,000, not $900, $19,000 for a used battery pack. That's not a brand new one. So you could easily jump into a car where the salesman is pushy and he says, hey, you know, this thing's got a little bit less life than it normally would have been, but you'll be good. This is fine. Any electric car can be drastically changed as far as its range with extreme heat and extreme cold. And we're all dealing with extreme heat right now in the nation. They're saying this is the hottest July on record ever. It can drastically affect your range. And if you already have a low battery health and then it's really cold or really hot outside, it can make it even worse. And when they start to go down, they can go down pretty quickly. And before long, it can be where the vehicle's unusable. I really like electric vehicles. I really like the idea, but they have a lot of bugs to work out to get to where they're usable, trustworthy, reliable, and everything's like that. But for now, keep that in mind when looking at an EV. The next feature, well, I guess it's not a feature, it's a standard issue that comes with the car, is any Mazda RX series with the rotary engine. And Mrs. Wizard actually, when I brought this up, she's like, that's really not that big of a problem. There's not many of them out there. But actually, we get several calls a week. And they always have the same statement when they talk to Crazy D in the office. I've been to 5, 6, 10 different shops. No one will work on my rotary engine. And guess what? We won't either. You really need to have a dedicated shop that's all they do is rotary engines, someone who knows those engines. It's not worth it for me or my guys to get into them because you might see a few here, 1 or 2 there. And it really, most people who own these cars, they have aspirations to get them fixed. But then when you start getting to $4 and $6 and $8,000 on the repair bill, they're like, this car's not worth that. Okay, so it's very expensive to fix. You have to find the right guy to do it, and you don't want to put the money into it. Why are you calling us? I've been through this many, many times. Hey, my rotary engine's bad. Nobody will work on it. I got a couple grand as my budget. Those items do not go together very well on a rotary engine. You really should just skip that car unless you can fix it yourself. Or you know someone who is definitely experienced specifically with the rotary engine and they can get you taken care of. But if not, you're going to be like the people that constantly calling our shop. You're going to be doing the merry-go-round of calling this shop, calling that shop, calling that shop, and hearing the word no, no, and no over and over again. So definitely don't get one of those. The next one's going to be a future issue. It's probably already starting to be an issue, especially with Tesla or many other models of cars are starting to go with an all-inclusive screen, like in the center stack, in the center of the dash, kind of like this picture here. or your speedometer, tachometer, climate control, the radio, the map. Everything that you need to know to drive your car is all on one screen. What happens when that screen fails? It is going to fail. Now you don't know how fast you're going, you don't know the directions on the maps, where you're going, you can't control your HVAC because it's just a black screen. All the buttons that are operating your HVAC and everything in the car are part of the screen, just like your phone. And when it goes black, you lose everything. Every feature in your car just went blank. And here's the issue that I'm going to see with future cars as well is we have people complain about a $200 fix or a $500 fix. We're going to start seeing $5,000 and $10,000 fixes. Because when that thing goes out, you're going to have to order a new screen, which is probably going to be $2,000 or $3,000. Then you're going to have to program it to the car, or maybe this or that, and it's going to be very, very annoying. Imagine you're cruising to work, everything's going well, and the screen just goes black and it stays black. It can really ruin, literally wreck your week. I actually know of an Acura that my daughter had. It was an MDX where the climate control and things was part of a screen, and it was constantly failing or resetting, or modules were bad inside of it. And I would get a phone call, Dad, I can't turn on my AC, the screen's dead, or this or that. And imagine you lost everything, all your gauges, whether your car's overheating, whether it's charging or not. It's just a black screen now. That's going to be a problem. The next issue I foresee is app-based features. On your phone, you can get on there, I can remote start my car, I can turn on this feature, I can turn off that feature, I can look at the charge level on an EV, things of that nature. We all know that technology moves fast and it is ruthless. It does not care if it leaves you behind with unsupported technology. We see that with all kinds of things today where this used to work just fine, they moved to a new operating system, the company no longer supports that software, now you have a brick. It's useless. Imagine you have a car that's 15, 20 years old and you say, it's a good car and I just lost all those features because now the app is unsupported. I foresee that being a big problem. It wouldn't if technology didn't move so fast, but with it constantly changing the code language that they use, even with internet, you could have an old G5 iMac or something. It can't even get on the internet because the internet language, the standards that they use today, is only in the new browsers. And guess what? Those are not supported on the G5 iMac, which means no internet for you. That can happen on your phone. You will lose the features to your car like a light switch. It just gets turned off. You just lost those. So I see that being a problem. And I have a seventh one before we go. Automakers are now going to subscription-based features in your car. The power windows, the heated seats, the cruise control, the extra power packages that can give you more acceleration. All kinds of features that are in your car are now $9.99 a month. You want heated seats? You got to sign up for a subscription to be allowed to use your seat. It's $10 a month. And if you don't pay it, they send the signal through and it shuts off your heated seats. So, and Tesla's doing that now. You go to buy a used car that had all these features, but now when you buy the car, they are all turned off. The little switches are turned off. You don't get those features until you go and sign up for them and pay the monthly fee yourself. And just like I just mentioned with the phone apps for your car, there's going to come a point when the manufacturer is going to say, hey, that car is 15, 20 years old. We don't even offer that service anymore, so your heated seats are just dead. You say, well, okay, well, I want to sign up for it. I'm willing to pay for it. Sorry, we shut that off a long time ago. So you don't get to use those features anymore. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. There are things to think about as we're moving forward. So we're advancing, we're moving forward with technology, but really, are we? So keep some of those things in mind when you're looking at a car. Here's two more bonuses. You guys already know my view on some of these things. Just some quick little mentions here. Any early 2000s Ford F-150 with the 3-valve Triton 5.4 motor, don't buy it. Just don't do it. And also any of the mid-2000s Nissans or the Jeep Patriot or the Jeep Compass with the CVT transmission, don't buy those either. They are going to shell out on you. They will. It's a promise. Unless you service them. But most people don't, unfortunately. Again, make sure to go in the link in the description below to check out Mrs. Wizard's Ways. That's her new channel that she has going. Lots of really cool videos there. If you're curious what kind of tools we use in the shop, you'd like to purchase them, they're also in an Amazon affiliates link in the description below. We get a small cut and really appreciate it. And also make sure to hit the subscribe button for this channel because we've got many more cool videos to go. Now I'm going to go rest on the couch. I'm going to rest up for tomorrow so I can do more wizarding in the shop. Thanks for watching.